Number 15. Aggressive Nighttime Spirit. A story by Daily Star claims that the video was captured January 5th, 2016 somewhere in India. The video, filmed in the middle of the night, shows two men sleeping in a room. One man is sleeping on a cot while the other is on a makeshift bed on the floor. First, the door swings open on its own. After that, a few seconds pass quietly, though the man sleeping on the cot does seem disturbed as he tosses and turns in the bed. Perhaps there was some noise during this occurrence. Then, after a few seconds, the man on the floor's feet begin to rise. They continue to be pulled up, perfectly straight, by an unknown force. The sleeping man seems oblivious to the assault at first, as he is slowly lifted off the bed and turns nearly upside down, though he wakes up. He begins to kick and struggle as the spirit holds its grasp and pulls him off the bed almost entirely. Eventually, his feet drop as the spirit likely released him. He searches the room, clearly afraid and confused. He slowly stands up, while still investigating the scene, and exits the room. In the midst of this commotion, the man on the cot sleeps soundly despite the victim likely yelling. Number 14. The Wingate Hotel Ghost. This video has been shared millions of times on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and even paranormal TV shows. The footage shown was collected from a combination of CCTV recordings and audio files saved by the security team of the Wingate Hotel in Illinois. The whole ordeal began one night in 2003 when many guests began calling in to the front desk to make noise complaints. The guests claimed that loud and terrifying screams were coming from room 209. Employees followed procedures to check who was staying in the room and make a call-in request for them to lower their volume. However, no one was booked in that room. This alarmed staff as they immediately assumed someone had broken into the room. A security worker was sent to handle the situation. The security footage recorded the entire horrific event that followed. The footage shows the security worker approaching the door. A woman screaming can be clearly heard via the mics on the CCTV camera. He knocks on the door several times, but there is no answer. A security manager tells the employee on the scene, John, to wait for the police to arrive.
John says he hears the screaming coming from that room, and I hear it too. But we're sure that no one's checked into that room, correct? John, just wait. We're gonna get a hold of the police, so.
As the screaming was still ongoing, John was worried someone was being hurt, so he entered the room using a master key. The second he opened the door, the screaming came to a complete halt. As can be seen in the footage, John steps in slowly. Once he fully enters the room, a white semi-transparent apparition moves from the doorway and disappears.
I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's gonna enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one.
The footage was allegedly submitted to a paranormal webpage by the security manager. There is no paranormal history with this hotel, but a quick investigation showed that over the years some guests have complained about strange noises in room 209. Number 13. Ghost Girl in Street. This footage was allegedly captured by security CCTV footage from Paso de la Reforma, which is a wide and busy street in Mexico City. The footage is marked 2:22 a.m. September 18th, 2016. The camera is pointed directly at a crosswalk, which is where the apparition appears. The spirit, which seems to be a young girl in a white dress, materializes out of thin air. She remains motionless in the middle of the crosswalk for several seconds. A large vehicle, possibly an SUV, drives right through her. The driver is clearly unaware of the spirit as it's not likely visible from the car's perspective. In addition, the spirit is unfazed by the vehicle. Another angle of the scene is provided. This shows the spirit from the back as the car passes through her with ease. For the entirety of this clip, the spirit stays in the same location in the street, and the video does not provide a shot of her disappearing or moving. Of course, many claim this video is clearly fake, as the spirit takes on the usual attire of a ghost girl with long dark hair and a white dress. This footage apparently caused a frenzy with locals though, who began sharing legends and stories of a girl that lost her life while using the crosswalk. Number 12. Haunted Doll. This video has sparked a lot of controversy since it went viral about 3 months ago. This footage was allegedly captured using a CCTV camera, set up in someone's home as a type of nanny cam for their child. The footage provided is only about 2 minutes long. Furthermore, every upload seems to be cut at the same times to show only the points of action, as they were likely taken from hours of original footage. The first portion of the video shows the little girl, probably younger than 8 years old, sitting on the floor and playing with a doll. She has 2 dolls in her lap that she's playing with, and a second doll sitting a few feet from her. The doll moves from right to left and back again, very slowly over about 30 seconds. The doll seems to be pulled by one of her pigtails. The child is seemingly unaware of the doll's motion. The next portion of the video shows the same little girl sitting in a dark living room near a couch and a small table. The girl is coloring with crayons and several pieces of paper sprawled across the table. A few seconds into this footage, the paper seems to be blown or pushed by an unseen force. The little girl looks up for only a second before running out of the room in fear. It's unclear if she went to grab a parent or nanny, or if she was actually alone, which seems unlikely. Either way, she returns a while later and slowly approaches the table. She is stopped in her tracks when the paper flies towards her. She runs away again, and then heavier objects are thrown off the table. Eventually the table, and seemingly even the camera, began to shake. Many claim the footage is clearly staged, and string or wind was used to manipulate the items. Some viewers have pointed out that string could not have been set up because the objects move in the same direction that the girl easily walks across, and if a large fan or blower were used, the picture frame in the background would have been blown off the side table in addition to the other items. Of course, it's up to the viewer to decide, but this footage is unsettling when you consider a child is in the mix of it. Number 11. The Scared Doggos. This video was captured by a homeowner who set up a camera after strange paranormal occurrences happened in their home. The homeowner explained that he or she would come home to find items rearranged and the door to their attic wide open. They finally decided to set up a camera between March 3rd and March 14th, 2008. This footage was recorded in the middle of the day on March 14th when the homeowner was at work and their dogs were home. The video begins with the 2 dogs, one large and one black, behaving strangely, pacing around the house and occasionally barking at an unseen person or force. Radio interference can be heard just before an orb drifts away from the window to the left.
Orchestra responding to that performance by James Ennis. Wow. That's from the CBC Records CD, which brought home a Grammy earlier this year.
Of course, as usual with orbs, this can be brushed off as airborne debris such as dust or even an insect. This also could be caused by outside factors such as a car driving past the window or a lens flare. Though the orb is easily disregarded, 10 minutes later the footage shows something more disturbing and undeniable. The door in view, either a closet or the attic door discussed earlier, fully opens on its own. The doorknob is turned and the door quickly pops open despite no one being around.
What I do? What'll I do?
Even the dogs aren't in the shot at this time. The door moves back and forth for about 2 minutes before slamming shut. After this, the roll of paper towels on the coffee table flies onto the couch. The dogs return to the living room, clearly distressed. They begin to interact with someone or something behind the camera that cannot be seen. They look upward and seem to follow this presence around the room as they would a regular person. Though they do seem scared or upset, they don't react to the presence violently as you'd expect a dog to with a stranger or unknown entity. Either these dogs were trained to be very friendly, or they are familiar with this presence. The final frame of the video explains that a picture frame was also knocked down during these events, though it is not in view of the camera. Number 10. Ghost Shopper. A story covering this footage was published in 2013 by KMTV News. 2 years later, this video was also uploaded to the KMTV YouTube channel. This footage, taken from the CCTV camera of a Whitstable Nutrition Center, shows a random shopper surveying items in an isolated aisle of the store. In the background of the scene, 2 boxes of tea bags can be seen slowly rising on their own. They hover in the air for only a few seconds before dropping to the floor. The surprised shopper turns to pick up the box, likely unaware it was an abnormal occurrence. As he places one box back on the shelf, the same thing happens to another box further down the aisle.
It's the weirdest thing.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, what is that?
It's just blowing, I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that looks like a poltergeist or something like that. You know the thing, you know when they hear about things like flying, oh my god, I don't like it, I don't like it.
It's weird, isn't it?
The article by KMTV covers the story in deeper detail. Michelle Newbold, the shopkeeper, explains that she was baffled by the footage. I've never seen anything like it since I've been running the shop. The customer never said anything and I don't even know who it was, Newbold added. The story went viral in 2013, although it did not alter the shop's business. Although Newbold claims that the video had no effect on her skeptical beliefs, she did have an alternative explanation. Since 2013, the video has gained over 300,000 views on the KMTV YouTube channel. Furthermore, the video has been re-uploaded by other channels and shared on various social media platforms. Number 9. Old Pete's Ghost. There's a famous pub in Sydney, Australia called the Carlisle Castle Hotel. For years, this local watering hole has been haunted by the ghost of Old Pete, a bitter ex-employee who left the earth quite some time ago, but not his job. His ghostly antics have been caught on camera no less than 3 times. The first time Pete was caught on tape, he was helping a customer. The unsuspecting man opens the door to the cooler when Pete decides to grab 2 bottles of red wine for himself. His ghost grip must have not been too tight though, because both bottles go crashing to the floor. Looking at the footage, there's no way that the shelf gave out or anything like that. The bottles were thrown to the ground with deliberate force with no one nearby. Another incident occurred when the bar was full of witnesses. Everyone is happily enjoying themselves when a hanging red wine glass suddenly dislodges itself and smashes into the counter. Glass shards fly everywhere and the entire bar takes notice. Although this could have simply been a freak accident, what are the chances that, of all the red wine glasses, the one that's directly underneath the server happens to be the one to fall and break? The timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Old Pete strikes again. The third and final tape reveals a glimpse of Old Pete himself. The bar is empty this time when the angry ghost suddenly materializes in front of the security camera. If you look closely, you can make out Old Pete's head at the bottom of the screen. He appears to be waving. Many other bartenders and customers all claim to have seen Old Pete for themselves in one way or another. It isn't uncommon for tapes to turn on by themselves, and the bartenders have seen what they can only describe as strange things while counting down their registers after close. To make this all even stranger, all of the bottles that go crashing to the floor are always high-end red wines. This just so happened to be Old Pete's favorite drink, at least when he was still with the living. Number 8. Romford Theatre Ghost. The Brookside Theatre in Romford, Essex is a small theatre opened in 2012 that has grown in popularity both with locals and tourists from around the world. This CCTV footage captured in 2014 may have been a helpful hand in the location's fame. The footage was taken in the late hours of Sunday night at 4 a.m. after a psychic show had been held in the theatre. The grainy black and white footage shows a chair moving by itself. Jai Seppel, an event planner at the theatre, said this footage was only one of the many ghostly happenings at the Brookside. Objects would move on their own or often go missing, and performers made claims of feeling a presence while they prepared backstage before big shows. When Jai first saw the footage, he said he was excited to finally have solid evidence. Roy Roberts, the psychic from the Saturday night show, said that he had felt a playful presence during his performance. Now we have direct proof of the paranormal, he said. Though the ghostly resident has not been known to cause harm or damage to anyone or anything on the premises, this late-night grainy footage does have a creepy effect. Number 7. Nazi Germany Castle Ghost. This footage was captured on CCTV in a 400-year-old Czech castle. The castle was once used as a Nazi Germany concentration camp and has a dark, detailed past. The castle, captured by the Germans in 1939, is now used as a historical museum and storage location for antique items. Sometime prior to the release of this video, several objects from a closed exhibition went missing. The ongoing problem was reported to police, who then viewed the overnight CCTV footage and discovered this disturbing video. The footage was captured in an exhibition room where items belonging to the former castle owners were kept. The camera captured a dark, shadowy figure move across the shot several times. Either a camera error or a paranormal factor. According to museum officials, all rooms were closed and locked during this time, and no cleaners or employees were in the vicinity. Furthermore, unreleased footage apparently showed similar occurrences at the same time on different nights, which eliminates the possibility of this being debris or an insect. After finding this alleged evidence, paranormal investigator Hannah Makova was called in to offer her expertise. Makova stated that she did feel negative vibes when investigating the scene and became so weak she had to leave. However, she didn't offer further information as her investigation was cut short for her own personal health. A local council employee, Susanna Zelina, told reporters that the resident spirit moved things at night to unknown hiding places or other exhibits. The legend says that he has been guarding his silver box even after his death, she said. The silver box held historical documents and valuables that belonged to a former owner of the castle, well known for his educational reform efforts and agricultural developments. Number 6. Restaurant Poltergeist. Allegedly, ghosts have been seen in strange places all over the world, from museums and homes to bars and amusement parks. No location is off limits for spirits. This video from 2013 really proves that theory. This CCTV footage was captured inside Jimmy's World Grill and Bar in London, UK. The video, which is less than 2 minutes long, shows poltergeist activity in the calm restaurant. Most of the activity occurs at the table in the bottom center of the frame. A female customer is enjoying a meal alone, which is all that can be seen for the first 50 seconds or so of the footage. The customer walks away from her table, and her chair moves on its own as she is away. Her napkin, plate, and cutlery are thrown violently off the table. Many customers and employees look in the direction of the accident, but see nothing unusual. The noise was later reported to a manager, who walked over to find the broken plate and mess. I didn't think too much of it at the time, but when talking to the staff about it a couple of days later, they joked about it being a ghost, said the manager. Eventually, the staff was curious enough to check the security footage when they stumbled upon this alleged proof of supernatural existence. Number 5. Parking Lot Ghost. This video was published by YouTube user Mazda Frio in November 2015. According to the video's description, the footage takes place in a parking lot in Koji, Western Australia in the middle of the night. The alleged spirit, which is thin, white, and slightly reflective, moves quickly between cars with no apparent destination. Although in some shots the apparition looks like a floating sheet, other angles provide details such as shoulders and a head. The figure moves randomly across the parking lot, occasionally disappearing from the frame. Before the video ends, it quickly shoots to the left. The description claims that the ghost noticed the camera and fled the scene. It also adds some insight to the possible origins of the spirit. Perhaps it is one of the ghosts from the nearby Old South Fremantle Power Station, believed to be haunted by many ghouls. Could also be a friend of the Devillic ghost from the Azalea Lay homestead nearby. This footage is just a small example of the alleged paranormal occurrences at this location. According to this user, several pieces of evidence have been collected to support the theory of a paranormal presence. Unfortunately, that evidence was never uploaded. Number 4. Leaflet Throwing Ghost. In October 2016, just a few days before Halloween, this video was released by the Torquay Museum. The video quickly went viral and has since continued gaining views. The CCTV footage, which is roughly 35 seconds long, shows several leaflets and papers flying off a bookcase as 2 employees perform daily duties. When the leaflets fly off, both employees are startled and begin questioning the event. Though both of them are hesitant to go near the mess, eventually the museum researcher David Willis goes to clean up the papers and investigate the cause. As he bends down to pick them up, another pile suddenly falls on top of him. Though they were startled, both employees don't overthink the situation. Until later, when they viewed the CCTV recording, they agreed that the motion in which the papers fell made it seem like they were pushed or blown, opposed to falling from natural forces such as balance. Roughly 18 months before this incident, a photo of a female ghost went viral. There was a paranormal investigation being conducted at the location when the photo, which shows a spirit half submerged in the floor, was taken. In addition, employees often report books flying off their shelves, and anonymous fingerprints were found on the inside of a mummy case that has not been opened in over 8 years. Number 3. Another child attacked. Shared to Live Leak in August 2016, this video is about 2 minutes long and was allegedly captured on CCTV. A boy enters a home through a door, holding a rag to his face. Immediately after closing the door behind him, a very clear yet shadowy figure seems to push him. He jumps forward, holding his back in pain, but quickly walks back to assess the situation. He turns on a light, opens the door and looks around outside. He lingers in the same spot for several minutes before shrugging it off and walking away. A slow motion close-up of the spirit shows that it is a very thin, tall figure. Though it's hard to call it human, it does have shoulders and a head in the similar shape of a person. The description claims this footage is from America, but commenters claim it was filmed in India and is similar to the footage of the forest spirit. Number 2. Car crash victim. This footage may be disturbing to some. The video was captured by a Street View CCTV camera sometime in 2016. It begins with a large blue truck trying to cross a busy intersection into a parking lot or small street. After a while, it begins to cross the street, and despite the quickly passing cars, it seems to make it without incident. At the last second, a motorcyclist darts into view, passing in the lane perpendicular to the large truck and parking lot entry, with the bike going at high speeds and the truck likely going significantly fast as well. The cyclist is thrown off his bike. Debris is spread about as the truck comes to a stop and the passengers begin to exit. In the right edge of the camera's view, the cyclist is seen sprawled out on the concrete. A dark human-shaped figure has appeared above the victim's body, which viewers speculate to be his soul. Though the passengers don't see the figure, an officer runs onto the scene and puts an arm around the shadow and even speaks to it. Viewers claim that in the heat of the moment, this officer saw the spirit and mistook it for a bystander. As the footage continues and the officers rush for help, the figure remains motionless in the same spot. This video has gained over 300,000 views, but comments have been disabled. Many believe that the footage was edited by an unrelated person and used for fame, profit, or to fuel paranormal beliefs. If the video was edited, it would be highly immoral, as the cyclist likely lost his life, or at the very least was seriously injured. That being said, the comments are likely filled with skeptics criticizing this channel for uploading the footage. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1. The cause of insomnia. Iris J. Alamo has been having problems sleeping for several months. She couldn't sleep as she felt uneasy, and when she finally did drift off, unknown sounds would startle her awake. She finally set up a CCTV camera in her bedroom to try and identify the cause of her sleeping issues. One night in September 2016, this footage was recorded. In the middle of the night, as Alamo lay in her bed, the bedroom door slowly creaks open on its own. Immediately after the door has fully opened, the blankets are quickly ripped off of the sleeping woman. She quickly wakes up, startled by the motion, and begins searching her wall for the light switch. Once the light is on, Alamo begins looking around the room and attempts to get out of her bed. The light flickers several times and eventually turns off. She searches for the switch again but decides just to get out of her bed and use the hall light instead. A few seconds later, she returns, climbs into her bed and turns on the bedroom light again. Of course, the light is immediately switched off again, so she searches for her phone to use its light and possibly text someone for support. While she is texting, what some viewers describe as an orb or white apparition appears in the left portion of the frame. Thankfully, activity stops after this and we can assume Alamo was able to sleep. In correspondence with WriteThisMinute.com, Alamo claims that she had been informed that the previous resident of her Chicago condominium passed away there in 2011, which might help explain the paranormal activity. Alamo is also adamant that none of her friends or roommates are trying to pull off a hoax. Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Or if you're still not convinced, here are some of our other videos that I think you'd like. Enjoy!